Nazarov, who clocked 10:39. Estonian. Looking at the remaining two heats that are coming up very shortly. Not too sure that's going to be good enough to see him through, though.
Yes, here's the full confirmed results, which incidentally Musa is missing from, just the 5 athletes shown there, interestingly. But Volko winning the first of these 3 heats. Next one's scheduled to come up in 5 minutes' time. So the situation where the top 12 ranked athletes go to the semi-finals, a little bit different from the World Championships, where you had a preliminary round opportunity in many ways for a number of nations to enter an athlete, many of them choosing the 100 meters. Didn't require quite the same technical specialism as some other events. Whereas on this occasion, many of these men around 10.1, 10.2, 10.3 lifetime bests. And they wouldn't feature in that preliminary round, but this would be a competition that they'd maybe target. Musa there, as you can see, looking like potential casualty from this morning's session. Hope he's all right. Looking there at Samuelsson, I was going to say, who set a recent Finnish national record in the 100 meters, breaking the 2001 mark of Tommy Hartonen. You don't see many Finnish national records on the track these days. Such is a testament to their legacy in track and field.
Yes. Samuelsson, now 27 years of age. Well, we followed his career on the European Athletics live stream all the way through from the under-20 and under-23 championships, and has carried on getting better and better over the years. Now a 10:16 runner, and the fastest runner in the second heat in this first round. Samuelsson looking pretty composed. Sansevini, well, the San Marino record holder of both 100 meters and 200 meters, the man in the light blue vest of San Marino. So there's a slightly larger gap between the heats than we're actually used to seeing. There's an 8-minute gap between the two heats getting underway, but there's the starter lineup. Lemacek of Belgium, Mancini, Switzerland, the race favourite Samuelsson of Finland, Brzezinski of Poland, Sansevini of San Marino, and on the outside, Oza of Turkey. See, in the main stand, a lot of people. Good attendance for a morning session here at this famous Olympic Stadium. Well, the seating, quite wide sweeping bowls. It's quite steep to get up the steps. I can tell you, I was gasping at the top of it. Made sure I got up in plenty of time. So now our first sight of the women's marathon. It's underway at 6 kilometers. Still a very large group together, as you'd imagine. Nice overhead shots as they weave their way through the center of Munich. Not a particularly large starting group of field by comparison to some recent championships.
Yeah, really nice city though, taking in some of the sights here across this marathon course, including the Marienplatz, starting and finishing around the Hofgarten. Moving out across the water and then back into the main centre area. So we also have the English Garden in the middle and quite a flat course as well. The men's marathon.
And Samuelsson of Finland, amongst others.
I'll just make a quick point that had it been 10.18, that would have broken the Irish record.
So we're back to the marathon then. 32 minutes into the race, so roughly just before the 10-kilometer mark. Still a large group of athletes all together. There we go. It's gone a little bit beyond 9 kilometers, so I'm just doing some mathematics on how fast they're running at the moment. All running very steadily at the moment. So we've gone for numbers on the front. I'll tell you up in front, it's Fionnuala McCormack, former European cross-country champion, now very much a marathon runner.
Yes, to Arteva.
Back to the city centre. This is the women's marathon at the 20k point. Still a large group. They make it about 20 women there before the comet's tail with the two poles starts to feed back.
Once again, more long jumping.
And once again, more marathon running, the women. Well, pace starting to pick up now in the women's marathon. There's a bit of a shakeout in the field. So that's Melody Julian at the front. She's pushing quite hard at the moment. Women just beyond the halfway point. Julian led them through the halfway point in 1:14.33. That pace, 2:29 pace. I think this is going to pick up in the second half, and of course the trend these days is very much for negative splits. Once upon a time it was get yourself through to about 30k and grit your teeth and hang on however best you could, but the whole tactic of running marathons has really changed over the course of the last 10 years. Up there as well, Nienke Brinkman, Hannah Verbruggen, Alice Wright of Great Britain, who pushed the pace in the very early stages of the race. Two of the Germans. 4:52 in the distance, you can see, is Dominika Matea. Sorry, just got the Germans confused. It's Rabia Schönborn. This is traditional, plenty of banging of drums, plenty of encouragement for the racers. Here's Julian, as you see there, and a very tall figure of Fabian Schlumpf of Switzerland. This stage, not much in it. Germans packing well at the moment. I think unofficially, I think they're probably leading the team competition. With individual medals at stake. That's Alice Wright of Great Britain, just starting to drift off the back now. She went through the halfway point in 4th place, but looks as though she's struggling a little bit at the front. Julian really picking up her legs and pushing the pace. Also, we can see up there Miriam Dapke, who's won medals on the track at under 20 and under 23 level. Also cross country, the very good German who's up there in about 6th place at the moment. Only a recent convert to the marathon. Yes. Right, once again. So they're just coming up just past 24K. So Rice, Wright, went through a bit of a pad patch at the moment. Behind Julian, it's Epis of Italy also there. And looking very comfortable at this stage as well. Fionnuala Britton, 2:22 runner in the Valencia Marathon at the end of last year. Just a few seconds outside Katrina McKernan's very long-standing Irish record. Melody Julian looks full of running here. She's really thrown the gauntlet down. Must be said, I'm just counting up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 women still staying with her in that leading pack, also looking well. But it is Julian who's really, pushing the pedal on the accelerator at the moment.
Yeah, she's working hard to try and break up that group at this point. As you say, the last split through 22.2 kilometres, 118.29. So with regarding the 0.2, it's a 10K loop course, but with that extra 2.2 on the first lap to make up that full marathon distance, of course, 42.2. So that's why we're getting the splits at those points once they've passed on that particular lap, indeed, plus that extra section on that initial opening tour around the course that takes in many of the main city sites around Munich, between the Odeonsplatz and Professor Huberplatz.
Yes, but Julian's definitely inserted some pace into this race over the last 2 kilometres, and that's what split them up. Going through that last split, as Alex was talking about, there was about 20 women, but now we're certainly down to about 8 in the leading pack, and then a couple still within range, possibly going through a bit of a bad patch at the moment, as you see the 25-kilometre mark. See a long way to go in this race, another 17 kilometres. We've seen there Steinruck at the back, German. Well, she was up there in that pack through the halfway point and then through to 22.2 kilometres, but now struggling just a little bit.
Yeah, tough in that situation to try and manage that gap.
On the real landmarks of the marathon course. Now the women. It looks as though Julian's just stepped off the pace now. She's just gone to the back of the pack there. You can see Fionnuala Britton of Ireland there in the green vest. Easy to pick out. Marion Ditka as well. One of the only German up in the leading pack. We saw several Germans in the top 10 or so. Really is a picturesque course, this marathon course. foot there. So as they're wending their way through the English Garden, famous green space, one of the lungs of Munich. So Julian, after pushing the pace between 22 and 24 kilometers, now struggling. Interesting to see post-race whether she regrets that real surge, that real acceleration, because the women were just sitting on her, just using her to make the pace. Bit fed up. I have to sadly report that the Polish competitor Piotr Tarkowski was injured during his first attempt, and so it's medical officials tending to him. But we're now back on the road with the marathon, and LISOWSKA leading the way. The pole, Datka's still up there. Julian seems to be getting a second wind. That was the situation at 32.2 kilometers, and then the group has actually just come back together again. So it was LISOWSKA who was pushing the pace at that point, and there was quite a large group. Julian getting up there, as you can see. Now a little bit further down the road, we're at about 34 kilometers, and it's now Datka really working hard at the front. I've had a lot of admiration over the years for Miriam Datka. She's a really tenacious competitor. Doesn't always come away with the victory. Problems with his shoes. It doesn't look like it's a serious injury. Just wondering whether his shoes are fairly new. Women's race.
Maybe just trying to get them off.
It's going to cost him time if he does start to once again. And it's still LISOWSKA at the front. Dodging around the back, Fionnuala Britton, two-time former European cross-country champion.
Up now in the marathon, there is Fabian Schlumpf of Switzerland, and now just a leading group of 6, so with a couple of athletes dropping off the back.
Yes, big surprise to see Fionnuala Britton getting detached there. Melody Julian, after concertinaing, having done a lot of hard work from about 22 to 25 kilometers. She went backwards, got back in the pack. Now she's drifting off the back again. I think I could see Miriam Datka up there really working hard as well. Yes, there she is in the middle of the pack in the yellow vest of Germany. We've got BRINKMAN as well, the really new face on the scene of marathon running, Natalie BRINKMAN, coming through. So it is a pack of 6. We've got LISOWSKA there and Epis as well, Poland. So it's Fabian Schlumpf who's pushing the pace again up the front. She hasn't really shown. She's always been in the middle of the pack. BRINKMAN tracking her, wearing the cap. It's looking as though the Belgian, Van Bruggen, is starting to struggle just a little bit at the back there. Wearing the sunglasses.
Yeah, Van Bruggen, who was really trying to push the pace earlier on the second lap, but dropping back a little bit now. But still, it's a fairly flat course, and as a result, the athletes will try and hang on. Sometimes when there are uphill and downhill stretches, it can also be a chance for those in front to try and break away from competitors also. But maybe not as taxing on the legs as some other courses. So there is also a dedicated marathon feed, just so you're aware as well, on the All Athletics platform, which you can find on the European Athletics website under live streaming. And you can keep up to date with all the results that have come through from this morning as well. So big Dutch contingent supporting also, not too far to travel, same.
Coming back at the marathon, well, in just the short space of time that we've been away, injection of pace by Datka has really split up that leading group. Looks like we lost LISOWSKA now. No, it's Fabian Schlumpf who we lost. LISOWSKA still in there. Datka now has injected a lot of pace very quickly into this race. And she's really heading for home. So 5 women in contention. There's Verbruggen, who's drifting off the back as well. Brinkman and Datka seem to be sharing the pace at the moment in a bid to shake off the rivals. So we've got LISOWSKA just behind her, Epis as well up there. This is going to be a very, very interesting race over the final 5 kilometers.
Yeah, Datka really developing well as a marathon runner. You mentioned earlier that we know her as a strong performer from the track and a previous European under-20 champion over 5,000 meters. At those championships, that's the furthest distance they do at that level as teenagers. And then she went up to the 10,000 meters a couple of years later and was second behind another German, Alina Rey.
The other woman up there we haven't given much credit to is PARLOV of Croatia. So that's the 5 women up there. It's Brinkman, Datka, LISOWSKA, PARLOV and Epis. Well, where Fabian Schlumpf having been up there, I'm just wondering whether Schlumpf has actually dropped out. We'll give you confirmation of that, because she's nowhere to be seen. But Verbruggen is still up there. Brinkman, very interesting character, having set a Dutch record at just a second attempt at the distance. So just under 4 kilometers to go. And suddenly the pace just drifts back. Verbruggen looking as though she's really working hard to get back with that leading group. So Verbruggen, the Dutch woman with the cap, Nienke Verbruggen, 2:22.52 earlier this year. And she finished second in the Rotterdam Marathon, and that was a big surprise to everyone. And I think she's showing here, you know, she's definitely not a flash in the pan. But everybody has to be said in that leading group, with possible exception of PARLOV, but certainly Epis, LISOWSKA, Datka and Brinkman looking very calm and collected on the outside. I'm sure that's definitely not the case as far as their inner feelings are concerned. So Verbruggen, well, she had been going through a bad patch, but she's still gritting her teeth and hanging on. Well, there's 3 Belgians in this race, so hopefully her compatriots will still be in contention to provide a scoring team for the Belgians. Not got much information really about how the team standings are going. I think we've got Germany leading at the moment.
That's right, yes, Germany leading fairly considerably, in fact, but it is kind of changing all the time as people drop back and forth.
I'm going to throw over to you, Alex. Give us a bit of an update on the team standings.
Yes, well, just having a look as things stand. It looks like it's a little bit out of sync, the computer, just trying to work out where things are. So Germany with Datka, and then Matea, who we saw dropping off the leading group a little earlier, and Deborah Schoneborn. The way it works, essentially, is that there are 6 spots for the team, 6 competing athletes, and then the top 3 effectively scoring overall. Germany came in as the #1 ranked team in terms of predicted cumulative times or expected times, with a total of 7 hours 19. At the European Championship, 7:93 compared to
I think it could be. I mean, Daley Thompson was a great long jumper back in the 80s, the international standard long jumper. Ehammer, I think that might actually be the second best long jump in a decathlon ever, behind his own 8:45. I mean, Damien Warner was jumping well, Ashton Eaton jumping well, but they weren't going anywhere like as far as that. I mean, Warner and Eaton both 8-meter plus jumpers at their best, without a doubt. A couple of other 8-meter long jumpers in the decathlon. As now we're seeing possibly a critical break here. LISOWSKA pushing for home, followed by Datka. Now Brinkman starting to drift off the back. Epis and PARLOV in 4th and 5th positions at the moment. PARLOV 4th, Epis now drifting off the back, the Italian. Bit of daylight between her and the women in front of them, but it's Datka and LISOWSKA. They've got just over 2 meters to the line in the center of Berlin. Well, this is great running from both LISOWSKA and Datka at this stage. LISOWSKA, 2:26 performer. Well, they're running at the moment at around 2:29 pace, 2:28 pace. So it's really good running, and it's going to speed up in the final couple of kilometers. And LISOWSKA is really pushing hard here. Datka now looks as though she's straining and stressing a bit. I have to say, Brinkman behind her still looks very calm and collected as they're going through 40 kilometers. Unofficially, I make it around 2:21:45. Let's give or take a couple of seconds. And LISOWSKA's really going through the gears now. Datka suddenly starts looking quite leaden. Brinkman, I think, is just waiting for a moment. I'd love to turn the clock forward to about half an hour and find out what these women are thinking at this stage. I'm just wondering whether Brinkman is just saying to herself, I can't keep up with LISOWSKA, but the silver medal's there for my taking. It'll all unfold over the next 7 minutes or so.
Yeah, I mean, an interesting point was made by our commentary colleague, Hannah England, that sometimes towards the end of the marathon, the route towards the finish can appear foreshortened, and sometimes athletes become very keen to go for it in the final stages, not quite realizing how long is left of the race. But impressive from LISOWSKA. She won her first Polish national title this year in April. Over 10,000 meters in a time of 32:55.
Yes, she's really made a big breakthrough over the last 18 months, and now, talking about breakthroughs, she's made a big breakthrough in this race, and she's suddenly, over the course of the last half a kilometre, put... And it's difficult to see the foreshortening effect of the head on camera. And I think she's put about 30 meters between her and the 3 women behind her. And suddenly PARLOV, having looked as though she was going through briefly a bad patch, she's back looking full of running again behind her. But there's no stopping LISOWSKA. Well, it's not going to be a championship record. That's going to stay in the hands of Christelle Douani from 2014. It's going to be a very fine run indeed. It's getting slightly hotter out there, but it's still not over 20 degrees. Chasing group now, 9 seconds behind. So that's about 50 meters at this sort of pace. Datka still gritting her teeth. Her cadence has gone slightly, but she's just battling and battling. Brinkman, much smoother running style from her. Well, it's fairly traditional for the medalist to take a bite out of the gold medal or the medals. I suppose it was really to represent the fact that you can't really believe it and you're just checking that it's for real. And now I think she can almost taste the gold medal. So she's gone through 41 kilometers now. Less than a kilometer to go before they hit the finish line in Odensplatz. There's a famous Nuremberg Munique gate. Now LISOWSKA, well, it's hard to see anybody getting her and reeling her in at this stage. She's absolutely flying at this end of the race. Chasing pack even, drifting a fraction further back. And this has been an absolutely terrific race from LISOWSKA. Just timed her move to perfection. Stayed in the pack, didn't make much of the early running. Left that to the likes of Alice Wright and Melody Julien over the first 25 kilometers. And then as they drifted backwards, stuck in the main pack. As Brinkman, LISOWSKA shared the pace a little bit. Datka also contributed. Now Datka, oh, she's looking so leaden. It's PARLOV now coming through, battling for the silver and bronze with Brinkman. I think Datka's race may well have been run. Really struggling at the moment. And now suddenly Brinkman starting to look just a little bit tired as the Croatian PARLOV. Well, PARLOV is a best of 2:28.39, so she's running very close to her best. Look at that. Well, it's become a bit of a marathon cliche. She's suffering the agony, but if she crosses the line and takes the gold medal, it'll certainly be the ecstasy of taking a European title. So now the finish line is starting to loom into sight for Aleksandra LISOWSKA. 31 years of age, won the Warsaw Half Marathon earlier this year, won the Warsaw Marathon, really best known as domestic runner, but look at, my colleague Alex is pointing out to the screen, and PARLOV is definitely trying to reel her in. This is suddenly becoming a thrilling finish to this race. PARLOV certainly has left Brinkman and Datka, Datka, I said she just leaves everything on the track. She's fully committed and has now gone past Nienke Brinkman. But it's still LISOWSKA just in the final 200 meters of this race. There you see, PARLOV is doing her absolute best. PARLOV just going to be outside her personal best as well, which on a day like this is absolutely terrific. But now, LISOWSKA coming through. Aleksandra LISOWSKA. Aleksandra LISOWSKA takes gold for Poland. Aleksandra LISOWSKA is the 2022 European Marathon Champion. Matea PARLOV takes silver for Croatia. And who wins the battle for bronze? Nienke Brinkman. Nothing to separate Brinkman and Datka, other than the fact that I think the photo finish will show bronze goes to the Netherlands.
Yeah, Epis, who was part of the leading group for so long, actually finding some decent strength towards the end to just close slightly towards the finish and finish then in 5th place. And some of those who improved in the second half of the race as well. Dominika Maya McCormack, who was also one of the early leaders there in 7th. Still a decent finish overall for her, 2:29.25 coming up. So plenty of women sub 2:30 when you consider they were just outside 2:30 on the third lap.
Verbruggen, who was up in the leading group up until about 39 kilometers, slipping back to 8th place. Verbruggen really going through the ringer over the final 3 or 4 kilometers. There we see the Croatian flag wrapped around the shoulders of Matea PARLOV. Terrific effort in the last kilometer. Well, there's Fabian Schlumpf. Must have had a tortuous time over the last 5 kilometers. We didn't have information on her when we switched back to the marathon, but she was still in the race. And that's another German through the line, Schöneborn. So unofficially, with 3 runners in the top 10, I'd say Germany have taken team gold.
Yeah, clear as day, isn't it, really, for Germany? That was what we expected coming in. Looks like they've got an overall team result of 7:28.48, which is a few seconds off what was expected, but still extremely impressive.
Well, this is a flat, gently undulating course. It's not a course built for super fast time, so all credit to the 3 medalists who all 3 of them got under 2:29. Sort of roughly, when we were talking this morning, roughly the sort of finishing time we expected. And I'm very happy to say the leading women all lived up to our expectations. And what a terrific finale to that race as well.